Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the Narayaneeyam sessions. So, today we'll do the third chapter of the Narayaneeyam. The first chapter was about the glories of the Lord. The second chapter was a description of the Lord's beautiful form. And now in this third chapter, the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattadiripad is enumerating the qualities of a pure devotee. Okay, so we'll start. We'll just do as usual. We'll just read one shloka, the first shloka of the chapter, and then we'll do a quick summary, a brief translation of this chapter. All right. So let's get started. Pathanto namani pramadabhara sindhau nipatita smaranto rupam te Varada kathayanto gunakatha charanto ye bhakta tvai khalu ramante paramamon aham dhanyan manye samadigata sarvabhilashitan. Okay, so here the poet is addressing the Lord as Varada. Varada. Who is Varada? The bestower of all boons. So, Bhattatri says, O bestower of all boons, O Krishna, O Guruvayurappa. We know that he is sitting in Guruvayur temple and talking to the Lord. This Sriman Narayanam is in the format of a prayer. He's talking to the Lord. Okay. So he says, O Varada, O Lord, O bestower of boons, I consider those devotees of thine to be the most fortunate who always meditate on your form, always chant your glories, and are always discussing your pastimes with each other, moving from place to place without any attachment to any single place, and whose desires are all fulfilled. They have no more desires to be fulfilled. Why? Because the Lord's lotus feet are the abode of all bliss or all happiness. In all that we do in life, we are seeking for happiness, right? We are seeking happiness in all that we do, right? So one who has attained the lotus feet of the Lord has no more desires to be fulfilled. Okay, so we as householders, how do we do that? How do we think of the Lord 24 hours a day? Do we give up all our household duties and sit quietly meditating? Srila Prabhupada says you don't have to give up anything. Continue with your continue doing your responsibilities. But then he cites the example of a young mother with a small baby. What does the mother do? The mother will be taking care of, she'll be having older children who have to go to school. She has to send them to school. The husband has to go to the office, and she has got other household chores to be done, like cooking, cleaning, etc., etc. So what does she do? Whatever she does, she adjusts her schedule according to the schedule of the baby, right? The baby would be sleeping, and then what does she do? While she's doing all her work perfectly well, but at the same time the baby is always there at the back of her mind, right? She has to adjust according to, before the baby gets up, let me finish my work so that after that I can attend to the baby. So likewise, we also, in whatever we do, we think of the Lord. The Lord is there in our hearts as Paramatma. So whatever we do in all our thoughts, words and actions, when we keep remembering the Lord, Smaranam, we think of the Lord, then whatever we do it right. We cannot go wrong, right? And Bhattadiri says, but, O Krishna, I am not able to think of you all the time, and I am not able to meditate on your form. Why? Because of this disease that is tormenting me. I am being tormented by this dreadful disease. We know that Bhattadiripad is suffering from acute rheumatism, and in the introductory session we learned how he came to contract this disease, right? So Bhattadiri is telling the Lord, O Krishna, O Lord, please bestow your blessings on me. Please be merciful unto me, so that I can sit in some quiet place without any distractions and always think of you, and I can meditate upon your form. Okay, and this is just an insignificant task for you. It's not a big thing, right? Even the impossible can be made possible by your grace. We all know the famous shloka. At least some of us might be knowing that shloka. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lankhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. O Lord Madhava, O Krishna, you can make the, I bow down to you, who can make the mute or the dumb speak eloquently, and the lame cross mountains. So what is there that is impossible for the Lord? Even the impossible can be made possible. So please bless me, O Krishna, he says. There are so many devotees of yours who have been freed from all material sufferings and are moving about happily. Great sages, and he quotes great sages like Narada Muni, are wandering through all the three worlds unnoticed, okay, singing your glories. They have been freed from all material sufferings and they have attained eternal knowledge and self-realization just by their constant contemplation on your lotus feet. What more can one desire, he asks. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Narada Muni and sages like Narada Muni and Shukadeva Goswami move about at their own sweet will throughout the three worlds, all the three worlds. Okay. So now, Bhattatri is asking the Lord, "Oh Krishna, oh Lord, I've got only one thing to ask of you, and that is, may my devotion to you increase more and more, so that all my sufferings will automatically subside." And I'm very sure about it. I'm confident about it. Why? Otherwise, the words of sage Vyasadeva, your own words, and all the declarations in the scriptures will be proved false. Okay, it will be no better than the babblings of the street urchins whose words can never be trusted. He's using very strong words here. Throughout the scriptures, in all the scriptures, the Lord says, "My devotee will never perish." Okay, and Bhattatri continues to say, devotion to you is such a sweet thing. It is very sweet. It starts with Shravanam, hearing, followed by Kirtanam. So it starts with happiness arising from Shravanam, followed by Kirtanam, which leads to removal of all sorrows, and in the final stage, what happens? It confers eternal knowledge or knowledge of the self-realization, which again confers happiness, supreme bliss. Okay, so what is this self-realization? My identity, our own identity, my identity, who I actually am. Who am I really? If somebody asks me, who are you? I'll say, my name is so-and-so, I work for such and such a company, I'm the daughter of so-and-so, mother of so-and-so, etc., etc., etc. These are all bodily designations. Who am I actually? I am a pure spirit soul. I am part and parcel of Krishna. And when I realize my identity, then what happens? Supreme bliss is conferred upon me. There is a very nice story to illustrate this point. I shall share it at the end of the session. Okay. And again, being a part of the Lord, what is my duty? My duty is to the duty of the part is to serve the whole, right? Like my hands, my legs, my tongue, my intestines, my heart, my brain, all these parts are serving my body, right? So likewise, when I am part and parcel of the Lord, then it is my duty to serve the Lord. So here Bhattatri says, "O Lord, please remove all my afflictions so that I may engage all my senses in your service. I can use my legs to walk to your temple, my hands to worship you, my ears to hear your glories, my eyes to see your beautiful deity form, my nose to smell the sweet fragrance of the tulsi leaves offered at your feet, my tongue to chant your holy name and to taste prasadam." So Bhattatri is asking for freedom from his disease, not to enjoy sense gratification, but to engage all his senses in the service of the Lord. Okay, and Bhattatri says, "O Lord, in my mind, which is now disturbed by mental and physical illness, may that beautiful form of thine manifest, so that all my sorrows will melt into insignificance. When the sun rises, darkness will be dispelled, right? Darkness cannot be present where there is sunlight. So similarly, when the Lord's form manifests in your heart, sorrows will automatically get dissipated, removed. Okay, and then he says, there are so many people who are not devoted to you, who have no faith in you, who are indifferent to you. They are leading a happy life. Why is it that I, being an ardent devotee, am still undergoing all this pain? Will this not bring disrepute to you? Will this not bring infamy to you? So please, O Krishna, have mercy on me, he says. And then he winds up the chapter saying, "O Krishna, what is the use of going on talking like this? I am going to stop all my lamentations. I am going to sit here in front of you, in front of your deity form in Guruvayur, and sing your glories. Until and unless you shower your blessings on me, I am not going to move from here," he says. That is how he ends this chapter. So we all know that Maharaja Parikshit, King Parikshit, was freed from the fear of death by listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Shukadeva Goswami. And here in the Bhattadiri is seeking freedom from illness by composing the Srimad Narayaneeyam, which is a condensed version of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So now I'll just share that story which I mentioned earlier, and then we'll wind up. Okay. So once there lived a king and a queen who was blessed with a baby boy after many years of marriage. Okay. And soon after the baby was born, there was a big flood, and nearly half of the kingdom was under water. Okay. And water entered the palace also. The king, the queen, the baby were all washed away in the floods in different directions. The king somehow was able to get hold of a twig, a branch of a tree, and he climbed onto the tree and remained on the tree till the rains stopped and the water receded. After that, after all this, he came back. When everything was quiet, he came back to the palace and he found that his wife was missing, the baby was missing, and many people had died. Now he consulted his minister, and he asked him to take stock of the situation, and he also asked him to find out the whereabouts of his wife and son. And search was going on. They found the body of the queen who had died in the floods, but the boy was not to be found. Now this boy had a big black mole on the left side of his forehead. That was his identity. Now what had happened? This boy, a beggar, found this boy in the waters during the flood, and then he carried this boy, saved this boy from the flood, and then he took him home and presented the baby to his wife. They did not have, this beggar couple didn't have kids, so they adopted him. They didn't know that he was a prince, and they took care of him. And what happened? After a few years, now this search was going on for the prince. Few years passed. This boy was now 14 years old. The father, the beggar, died. So did his wife, and he was left alone to fend for himself. And the only thing that he knew was to beg. So he went about the marketplace begging for food. Some spurned him. Some people spurned him. They drove him away. Some were indifferent to him. Some people felt pity on him, and they gave him something, gave him money or food or whatever. And when he got something, he was happy. When he didn't get anything, he was sad. He used to sit and cry. Twice he was taken by the police. The police took him, and he was beaten up for something that he did not even do, because nobody was there to protect him. Now few days passed, and again the third time the police caught him, he started crying and begging and pleading and saying, "Please, I have not done anything. Please don't take me." But the police did not say anything. Just put him in the van and took him straight to the palace. Now when the king saw this boy, he was very happy. He recognized his son and he hugged him, and he was so happy that he said, "See, I have been reunited with my son," and he asked him to stay there. Now the prince this beggar boy was taken aback. He didn't know how to adjust to this new situation. Now this boy took some time to realize the full implications of his sudden good fortune. Okay, it was a few days passed by. He had good food to eat, nice clothes to wear. He had attendants to serve him. Okay, it took time for him to realize and adjust to the new way of life. Then one day he just thought about his old friends, and he wanted to go back to the village and meet his old friends. So he thought, okay, let me go back and see what's happening there. He had kept his beggar's clothes and the begging bowl safely. So he put on his beggar's clothes, took the begging bowl, and slowly sneaked out of the palace and reached the village. When he reached there, they were surprised to see him after a long lapse of time. So they asked him, "Where were you? What happened? Did the police beat you up?" And so he just kept quiet. And some people, like before, some scorned him. They just drove him away. "You deserve that." "Good," they said. Some were indifferent, and some people felt pity on him. They gave him food. They gave him alms. So he collected all this, but he was undisturbed. All these fluctuations did not affect him. Earlier he used to feel sad. All these things used to affect him. When he got food, he used to be happy. When he did not get food, he used to feel sad. He enjoyed everything with the same frame of mind. Why? Earlier it was not like that. He used to get affected with the external implications, but now he was not. Why? Is it because he became a prince? Earlier also he was a prince. He was born prince, right? Right from his birth he was a prince. But now what happened all of a sudden? He realized his identity. He He became aware of his identity. He became aware that he was a prince. Earlier he did not know about his identity, who he was, right? So similarly, and so it did not affect him, right? Similarly, we also, like we discussed earlier, we are all parts and parcels of the Lord, but we are unaware of our self-identity, of our real identity. We think that we are this body. Actually, who am I? I am a spirit soul. I am not this body. I am a spirit soul, right? That is what the scriptures say. And like the soul keeps changing the bodies, like we keep changing our dresses. Now, yesterday I was wearing a different sari. Today I am wearing a different sari. Tomorrow I'll be wearing yet another sari. Does it mean I am not the same person? No. It's the same. Only the dress has changed. So similarly, the soul remains the same, and the soul keeps. That's what the Bhagavad Gita says. The soul discards old, like we discard old clothes and accept new ones. The soul discards old and worn out bodies and accepts new ones. And that is why the sages, they are unaffected by these external conditions, because they know who they really are, who I am, my identity. Okay, and that is what. And how do you get that? When you realize your identity, then all these external fluctuations or variations will not affect you. They will not affect us, because I know that I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I'm part and parcel of the Lord. The Lord is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. What is that? Existence, knowledge and bliss. And since I'm part of the Lord, I am also existence, knowledge and bliss. I'm bliss incarnate. So I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about these external variations, because it pertains to the body and not to me. Okay. So how do you get that? How do you regain that? How do you get this? How do you get self-realization? That is what it says. It starts with Shravanam, right? Hearing. From whom? Hearing from authorized sources, right? Hearing from devotees. And that is why devotee association is very, very important. For that also we need the blessings of the Lord. Yeah? Only through devotee association can we elevate ourselves in devotional service, in spiritual knowledge. Okay, so may the Lord bless us to get good association of the devotees. We'll stop here right now. We'll meet tomorrow again and discuss chapter 4. Thank you for watching, and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.